Hey there YouTube, welcome back to another video. So yesterday my mom came home and said she's got a leak from her radiator. So I'm gonna go drive it around and or at least let it run and see what I can figure out, see if we can find a leak. So I guess y'all stay tuned, I'll give you guys another update. Well, looky there. The whole radiator disintegrated on the inside. It definitely needs a radiator. And it's cracked right there. I don't know. I'll see what I can do. Alright, so it's been an hour. It's almost 4 a.m. I got the air box and everything back in and everything hooked back up. So, feels still a little tacky. And it says on here it sets in 5 minutes and then fully cures in an hour. It must have been on this. Yeah, set time 5 minutes, cures in 1 hour. Dries translucent yellow. Well, I can't tell. I guess it does kind of look a little yellow on the plastic vacuum piece I added on. So I guess the only thing left is to top her off. I did clean up the inside of the cap. It was all had that brown gunky shit. And this radiator was nice and clean. So all that brown gunky crap in there is either out of this engine or out of the heater core or something. I don't know, because it seems like every radiator I put in here does this. And whenever I bought this radiator from the salvage yard, this cap looked brand new and all inside looked brand new. It was nice and clean and black plastic. There was no gunk in it. And it was holding coolant. That was one of the reasons why I bought it. And the same with the AC condenser. It was holding Freon. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just going to top it off and see what happens. Alright, so I started topping it off. Keep slowly going down. And I've filled it like 8 or 9 times now, and it keeps slowly going down. But I finally got some coolant in this hose. I don't see anything leaking out. So I don't know, it's looking kind of promising, but we'll just have to see how it is once it's got pressure behind it from, you know, the cooling system and everything. So I don't know how it's going to hold up with pressure, but it looks like it's kind of doing its job right now. So I guess I'm going to keep topping it off, and then I'll start it up and turn on the heater so it can start circulating and get some pressure, and we'll see what happens. And then I also need to add some transmission fluid since I added the cooler and it's a little low. So I guess I'm going to keep topping this off, and I'll give you guys another update before I start it. Alright, just topped her off with coolant and started the car. Went ahead and turned the heater on. And I just got to see if we get any leaks. So I've got the bleeder open. Tiny little drip. Now what the fuck is squealing over here? Can't tell if it's the alternator pulley or if it's the power steering pump. Definitely shaking quite a bit. So I'm going to try to build up a little bit of pressure and see what happens. I guess I'll give you guys another update here in a few. Well, I think she might have a blown head gasket. Because that's a lot of bubbles. That's a lot of bubbles. And that would explain why the lower hose completely exploded and why I've been through 3 radiators in the last couple of months in this car. See, it's fully up to temp. It's right in the middle. We got nice heat. I think she's got a blown head gasket. That is dumping out coolant now. Belt got wet. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that that's not gonna last. Alright, you guys, so I just got the new radiator in the mail today for my mom's car. Looks just like the ZZP radiator. The shape of it and everything. Hopefully her fans fit on here with no issues. Just have to see. Man, not a bad looking radiator. Still thicker than a stock radiator. Not bad. There's the radiator, and then we also got the gasket kit with the head bolts, and then I'm gonna give her my ZZP hose, so she'll have a new upper and lower hose because right now she has the new lower on the car, or I guess it'd be the lower. So the upper is going to go from here to the engine. So, pretty sweet. Looks good. I need to get this loaded up in the car, because now that the gaskets and the radiator showed up, that's everything I need for her car. Now I can get her car back out to Inola, or out to Inola to Lucas's, so I can tear it apart, get the head gaskets done, and then swap the radiator. So, not bad. I really like this red. And for 150 bucks, really can't beat it. I mean, for it being exactly like the ZZP radiator, and theirs is like $400. It's a pretty good deal to me, so I'm pretty happy with that. I guess I'll go ahead and open up the gaskets and we'll take a look at the gasket. Alright, and here's the gasket kit. Got the Felpro gaskets, metal lower intake gaskets, new valve seals. I can't tell if there's timing cover. I see head gaskets, lower intake gaskets, upper intake gasket, EGR, thermostat housing, exhaust gaskets, valve cover grommets and gaskets. Yeah, I don't think there's an oil pan gasket or a timing cover gasket, but it did come with head bolts. So hopefully this works, and hopefully this fixes her car. So I guess I'll give you guys another update once I have everything loaded up in her car. Alright, so it's all unwrapped out of the plastic. I just wanted to get a good look at everything. All the fins look good. There's a tiny little mark right there. Other than that, everything on the back looks great. No marks at all. Well, looks like there might be a couple right there. But overall, it looks really good, so for 150 bucks, really can't complain. It's less than half of ZZP one. And I mean, the gaskets and stuff, they look okay. Not too sure about the head bolts, but better than reusing the ones that are on it. So there it is. Yeah, I need to get this stuff loaded up, and I guess I'll give you guys another update whenever I'm headed out to Inola with her car. Hey there, YouTube. So it's Friday the 11th, and just now leaving the house. I got everything loaded up. Got the new radiator, power washer, all the tools are in the trunk. I got HP tuners, all the new gaskets and stuff. So I'm headed out to Inola so I can hopefully get this stuff done. So hopefully the car makes it. So I've got to swing by Walmart and get some CLR so I can flush out the engine and the heater core and everything before it goes back together. And I just want to make sure I get as much of that gunky shit out of everything as I can. So yeah, but I guess I'll give you guys another update once I make it closer out there. Alright, YouTube, so I'm almost out here. Just turned off the main highway, so just want to give you guys another update, let y'all know I'm close. So once I get out here, I'm going to have to let the car cool off for a bit. So, but the car did really good. Temps are really good. It's not like overheating or anything. I haven't seen any coolant going anywhere. So seems like the repair is held up, at least to make it out here. It's a good 30 or 40 minute drive. I did remove the thermostat completely, so there wasn't as much pressure in the upper hose. But we're doing good. Moving right along. So I guess give me a few and I'll give you guys another update once I make it out here to Luke's house. Alright, you guys, I made it out here. Just got the car jacked up, and it is definitely leaking some, so it didn't completely hold, but it held up enough to make it out here. It's I just seen it run down. Yep, it's still leaking right there. You can see it gushing. Yep. Hey, that's cool. At least it held it enough to make it out here with the thermostat completely removed. So I'm gonna let the car cool off for a little bit until I can start draining the antifreeze out, and then I'll go ahead and start getting everything torn apart. And so I guess y'all stay tuned. I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Alright, you guys, so I've already started tearing it apart. I got the fuse box all completely out, batteries out, it's over there. So now I have a lot more access. I think I'm going to remove the battery tray just to have a little bit more clearance. It's just some 10 mils. I think there's 3 or 4 10 mil bolts. The battery tray will come out. I'm going to go ahead and remove the belt. I've got the radiator cap off, so it's down enough pressure. But yeah, you can see it's like right at the top of that metal coil in there. So it definitely lost some fluids on the way out here, and it dripped some on the floor. But really not that bad. I was expecting it to just like explode and come off, but that didn't happen. So I'm really happy about that. But yeah, I guess next thing I can do is I can go ahead and drain the radiator, and I got a big pan all cleaned out, so I'll be able to reuse what comes out. And then I also got a new gallon of antifreeze right there. So I guess that's what I'm gonna work on next, is draining the antifreeze. And then once it's drained, I can remove the heater hoses and the radiator hoses. I'll go ahead and pop the belt off just so that's out of the way, and kind of go from there. My plan is, well, my plan originally was I was just going to pull the engine out completely, and so I'm still kind of debating, but Jesse brought his truck back. I wasn't expecting it to be in here, and so I've got the cherry picker is over here in the corner, so I'm going to have to get this cherry picker out and around here, and I'm probably going to have to move all my tools over, but I'm going to have to get the cherry picker up here and then be able to wheel it out over there. So it's going to be kind of a tight fit. But it is Friday, and Jesse might come over here tomorrow, so I didn't want to block his truck in. I did have to move it forward so I could get the car to pull in. And it's pretty close. He's got a foot or so of clearance to back straight out if he does come by tomorrow. But, I mean, overall it's going pretty quick. So I plan to have the engine out in 3 or 4 hours. So I'm gonna have to unbolt the power steering pump, that stays in. I gotta unbolt the AC compressor, that stays in. But pretty much everything else can come out. The starter's gonna have to come out. I gotta unbolt the exhaust downpipe from the rear manifold. And then I've never had her engine out, so it may still have the bitch bolt in there, I'm not for sure. But I mean, yeah, this should be pretty smooth. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and quit rambling on. I'm going to get this antifreeze drained out of the radiator, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys, so I'm under the car, and right here on the driver's side, there is a drain plug. And it's plastic. And you just twist it. And there we go. So I'm just going to let that drain. I don't want to pull it all the way out because I don't want it to shoot everywhere and make a huge mess. Man. Yeah, I definitely need to power wash everything. But, alright, yeah, I'm going to let this antifreeze drain, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys, so radiator is drained and out. Got my lower radiator hose disconnected. Radiator's over here. I did end up breaking the piece off. This is what I epoxied on, but man, it did pretty good. It got way down in there in all the cracks and crevices. It sealed it pretty good. You can see it like melted this vacuum piece. See, it's like all warped. So sitting on there like that, this definitely looks warped. But I ended up breaking that off to give me a little bit more room to get the fans out. So, but man, radiator's out. So next thing I'm going to be doing is I'll probably remove the heater core hoses off the alternator bracket. Then I've got to unbolt the AC compressor. So I think it's just like 2 15s. I think there's a nut and a bolt, and then there's like an 18 right back here behind this. Let's see if I can get a video of it. But right back here, there's an 18 bolt behind this AC line. And so I learned on Steven's Grand Prix that you can take your wrench and get between the line on the head of the bolt, and you can just loosen it, and then the AC compressor will slide off once you have the 2 nuts and bolts up here on the front side removed. Then the whole AC compressor will just slide this way right off that 18 bolt. So I've got this little clip right there. So I got to remove this plastic clip that holds this harness, and then there's a 15 bolt right there, and then there's a 15 nut right there. And then once I loosen the 18 on the back side, that whole compressor will slide forward and fall off, and then I can just let the compressor sit up here, leave all the lines connected. And then power steering pump is 2 13 mil bolts, and then the heater hoses, and then downpipe, remove the starter, get the torque converter bolts, and then after all that's done, the last thing I'll do is bell housing bolts. So not too bad, it's going pretty quick. I've already started disconnecting the harness from everything over here on this side of the car. So all of this stuff over here is all disconnected. And so now it's, yeah, literally just AC compressor, power steering. I mean, these cars are so simple. So I'm going to keep working on this, and I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Alright, you guys, so from the bottom now you can see there's that bolt. And so all I did was I took my 18 wrench, and slide it right in front of the subframe here, and you can get it to reach up there. And yeah, you just give it like 2 or 3 turns, loosen, and that was enough to get it free. And I've already got, I removed the bolt and the nut prior before going down there. So now it's just hanging up on this stud. So I just need to pull it a little more to get it to drop down off that stud. Oh, there we go. Cool. Now the AC compressor is out of the way. Awesome. I didn't have to lose any Freon. System is still charged. So next thing I need to do is get the starter wires all disconnected and remove the starter. And then after I get the starter removed, it'll be the 3 torque converter bolts, which are 18 mil. The 2 starter bolts are 15 mil. And then for the power on the starter, you've got the 13 mil here, and then an 8 mil for the starter signal. It's this purple wire. So the starter solenoid is an 8. The power wire is a 13. So I gotta get a 13 and an 8, remove those, then unbolt the 2 starter bolts from the bottom, which you can see them right there. There's the 15, and there's the other 15. So, got to get both them starter bolts removed, drop down that starter, and I'll be one step closer. So, I'm going to keep going, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys, so I got the heater hoses disconnected, power steering pumps unbolted. I still haven't got the starter out yet, but I've got all the harness down here unplugged from everything. So oil pressure sensor, speed sensor, rear knock sensor, and downstream O2 sensor is all unplugged. I've got the harness pulled up. It's right up here. And then this line for the power steering sticks onto, there's a metal bracket right there, and so it was has a little push clamp thing that goes in that hole on that bracket. You can see the clip right there on the line. So that little clip was in that hole on the line. So I've got that removed. Now there is a bracket. Let's see if I can get a good eye on it. But so there's a bracket right there. It's hard to see through these lines, but it bolts onto this diff cover. There's a, I want to say these are 13s, but that kind of looks like it's a 15 right there. And then there's two 15s that bolt onto the back side of the engine, and so I have to remove that bracket before I can put all my extensions through here to get to the bitch bolt on the back side. So that bracket's gonna have to come off, and that's the only other kind of pain in the ass thing that I have to do. So I've got to get that bracket removed. I can undo the two bolts for the engine mount. And then I still got to remove the starter and do the torque converter bolts. But man, it's coming along. It's super close. And I still got to go underneath and do the downpipe to the rear exhaust manifold. So I'm pretty sure those are 13s on the exhaust. So I'm going to have to get the exhaust disconnected, get that bracket unbolted, and then the starter. So I guess I'm going to try to get all that stuff done, and then I'll give you guys another update before we get to the bell housing bolts. Alright, you guys, so starter is out. I've got a 24 mil socket on the crank pulley bolt, and I've turned it to where I can get to this bell housing, or this torque converter bolt. And the torque converter bolt is an 18. There's one. Now I'm just gonna take and, oh damn it, it came off. Okay, hold on. Alright, there's number 2. So get that one. Nope, gotta come down a little more. And go up. See if I can get it right there. There it is. There's 2. Alright, one more. Oh, there we go. glad that didn't hit me in the face. Alright. There's all 3 torque converter bolts. So now it's just going to be getting that stupid bracket off. It's right here. And then once I get this bracket off, then I can get to the bitch bolt. Then I can get all the other bell housing bolts. And then I've still got to do the rear exhaust back there, wherever it's at. It's back there somewhere. But other than that, that's pretty much it. Everything else is all disconnected. Trans is staying in the car. So, yeah, super duper close. It's really close. Just about time to come out. So, I guess I'm going to work on that bracket for that bolts the engine to the trans on the backside. And then, once that bracket's off, I can get to the bitch bolt, get the other bell housing bolts, and then the exhaust, and then that's it. And she'll be ready to pull out. So, I'm going to keep working on this, try to get that bracket off, and I'll give you another update. Alright, you guys, so I finally got the bracket off. I got everything unbolted, but I cannot get the bracket out without removing the oil filter housing. So that kind of sucks, because now I'm going to have to get a new gasket, and the new gasket set did not come with this gasket. So I'm going to have to make a trip to O'Reilly or AutoZone to go see if they have a gasket for this. And hopefully they do and they have one in stock, because I'm going to have to get this. But now that the bracket is out of the way, now if you look right through there, you can see that shiny thing way back there. That is the bitch bolt. So now I've got to get like 4 feet of extensions with the 18 mil socket. Then I can unbolt that last bolt back there. And I still have to get the exhaust undone, but I've already got all the other bell housing bolts removed. There was 4 up here, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the bitch bolt makes 5. So the only things holding this engine in right now are the exhaust and that one bell housing bolt, and then it's just sitting on the subframe and stuff. So it's not going to fall out the bottom or anything, but it is super close. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and remove this bitch bolt and then get under there and get this exhaust downpipe unbolted from the rear manifold. And then I got to get the cherry picker from over there in the corner and get it up here, and I'm going to have to move all the tools and shit out of the way. And then I guess I'm going to have to look around and see if I can find a chain, because Noah is borrowing my cherry picker right now and he has my chain. So yeah, I can't, that kind of sucks, because I really kind of need the chain, but I'm sure there's a chain around here somewhere. I'm just going to have to look around and find it. So, but I'm going to keep working on this, and I'll give you guys another update whenever she's ready to pull out of here. Alright, you guys, and as you can see, all the long extensions goes way back there. I guess it's really hard to see, but it goes all the way across. So I just got this loose. Sounds like the bolt fell out of the socket. That's what I gotta use. That's how you gotta get the bitch bolt. Literally like 3 feet or so of extensions. But now, if you look, the bolt is out back there. I guess it fell down, so I'll have to get it once the engine's out. But, yep, bitch bolt is out. So now all I gotta do is get the exhaust, hook it up, and the engine's ready to come out the top. So, I'm going to throw my phone back on the charger because it is at 15%, and let it charge up a little bit while I get the rear exhaust removed, and then I'll give you all another update, and we should be pulling this thing out here shortly. Alright, you guys, so engine is out. Just brought it out here and sprayed it down with this super clean. Yeah, I got super clean. Sprayed down the engine bay, and then I got stung in the head by one of these fucking wasps up here. And then there's another nest over there. Ah, man, that fucking hurt. But yeah, I'm about to get this all power washed off. I almost forgot to do an update because my phone was on the charger. But yeah, I'm about to power wash this off and I'll give you another update. Alright you guys, so got the car all nice and power washed. Engine bay looks 1,000 times better than it did. Everything looks nice and clean thanks to that super clean spray. Yeah, this stuff is awesome. Super clean. Didn't even have to scrub nothing. Just sprayed it on, let it sit for a couple minutes, and power washed it off. It took off all that grease and grime that was all over the subframe, all over the trans. The engine cleaned up really nice too, but the neighbor Robert was over here and he knocked down like 3 or 4 wasp nests. There was 2 over there and 1 over here. One of the wasps stung me in the head earlier, and that's why he knocked them down. Let me see if I can make it out here to the engine without getting stung. Nope, they're still out here. Alright, well I'm gonna go back in, but here in a bit I'll show you guys the engine. But I'm not trying to get stung in anymore, so yeah, I'll give it some time for them to move along. But man, the car looks so much better than it did. Super happy with the engine bay. It cleaned up really nice. And the engine cleaned up really nice. So now I've just got to clean up my mess that I made of all the grease out there and spray it off so it's not staining up his drive out there. But yeah, made really good progress today, and it's only been like 6 hours since I got here, and the engine's out, everything's power washed and cleaned, and now the engine's ready to be torn apart so I can get the heads cleaned up and get everything on the engine off, so I can get the engine block itself all cleaned up on the gasket mating surfaces, and then I can start actually reassembling. But it's still got a ways to go before we go reassemble. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to push the car forward some more now that I've got some litter down on all the fluids, trans, and I had some trans fluid on the floor and some antifreeze on the floor. And so I'm just trying to keep everything cleaned up and soaked up so I'm not leaving any fluids on the floor. And so yeah, I'm going to push the car forward back over here where it was, and then once all these wasps go away, then I'll wheel the engine back in, and I'll probably just try to tear it apart back here, and I should have plenty of room back there to get the engine torn apart. But yeah, major progress today. Everything's looking really good. So I guess I'll give you guys another update here in a bit once I have the engine back in here, and I'll show you guys the engine. Oh man, alright y'all, well, I opened the door, and I got the engine inside, and I shut the door, and I realized I had never power washed the oil filter housing. It was sitting right there. So I took it outside, sprayed it down, went and turned the water on, and I got stung in the fucking toe by a wasp. So now I've been stung in my head and in my toe. Oh, my toe is starting to swell up. Oh, man. Oh. I had socks on, too. I just took my socks off. God, now I'm limping, but as you can see, the engine looks great. It's so much cleaner than what it was. The water pump originally was just like covered in grease. There was no silver at all. The oil pan looked black before. It's actually aluminum color now. They're gonna get everything, but this looks way better than it did before. And it's not done. Once I get everything removed, I'm gonna power wash everything more whenever they're all individual. I just want to get a big majority of the grease and grime off the engine and off of the, out of the car, out of the engine bay. And so that was successful. So car looks great, engine looks good. Now I've just got to get the bracket over there. I forgot he knocked down that that's what happened. I walked right past that wasp nest. Yeah, see, they're flying around out there. He knocked down 2 wasp nests over there, and then one right there next to that bucket. You can kind of see it laying on the ground right there. So I must have walked right past it to turn the power washer on, and they stung me. Ugh. And it doesn't help that they're flying around in here because they come through all these vents that just go right outside. Ugh. But the engine is back in here, so I can at least start kind of tearing it apart and getting the heads off. Oh man, my toe is like on fire. There's no stinger in it, so there's nothing to pull out. It just hurt like a motherfucker. But I guess I'll give you guys another update, because now my head hurts and my toe hurts, and the one on my head's starting to swell up some too. So I don't know if y'all can see anything, but it's like right here in the back of my head. Ah, yeah, it's like right there. But engine's power washed, engine is out of the car. So major progress. I'm really happy with it. So I guess I'm going to take a break for a little bit, and I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Well, while I was waiting, I went ahead and tossed the new radiator in. Looks good. Fits in there with the AC condenser. God, my toe is just on fire. Oh my God. Ah. I just killed a wasp. I think I killed it with some brake clean. I don't know, maybe it flew away. But radiator is in. It looks good. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna even start tearing this apart today. It's just gonna have to wait till tomorrow. But I do want to try to get that oil filter housing power washed tonight before I go home. So I don't know, I guess I'll give you guys another update once I make some kind of progress, but this may be it for tonight. So I guess y'all stay tuned. I'll give you guys another update before I go home tonight. Alright, you guys, so I've got the oil filter housing all power washed and cleaned up as best I could. So I'm going to have to get a new gasket. But other than that, it all cleaned up really well. So I've got to scrape that old shit off and then get a new gasket. I've also got to scrape it off the timing cover. I mean, other than that, everything looks good. I still haven't messed with the engine yet. But I was able to go out there and get those other parts power washed. And then I also found out that the oil pressure sensor is bad. I was trying to thread it back on to the housing, and this black plastic just spins and spins, but the metal stays. So pretty sure with how wet it is in there that this sensor's probably bad. So I'm going to get a new oil pressure sensor, and I'm going to get her a new gasket for the oil filter housing. And I think that's it that I need. I may need to get something else, but I think that'll be good. Yeah, and you see most of half the gasket stuck on here, the other half stuck on the housing. But other than that, everything looks pretty good. So I guess I'm going to call it a night for tonight. I've got everything picked up. I just got to turn off the fan and turn off the lights, and I'm waiting for a ride to go home. And then I'll probably drive the GXP back tomorrow so I can continue working on this tomorrow. Tomorrow will be the last day I have insurance, so at least I won't be driving illegally if I drive tomorrow. So I guess y'all have a good night, and I'll catch you guys back out here tomorrow. Hey there, YouTube. So it's the next day. I'm back out here. It is raining, but I got here about 8 o'clock or so and helped the neighbor lay sod in his front yard. He let me use his work truck to drive home last night, so my mom didn't have to come out here and pick me up and then bring me back out here this morning. So I helped him lay some sod as a thank you, and he actually gave me some money. And so I was able to go by O'Reilly this morning, and I ordered the gasket, and it'll be ready in about 30 minutes at 10:30. It was only $4. So if anyone needs a oil filter housing gasket, they're $4 at O'Reilly's. And it was like $9 on eBay and $20 on eBay, and it was going to be another week for shipping. So definitely cheaper just to go to the parts store on this thing. But I was able to get it's not a brand new sensor, but I had this oil pressure sensor at the house, and it's nice and dry inside. So I've just got to get that tightened all the way down. So I guess first thing I'm going to do is I'll clean up this old gasket off of here with the razor blade. And I guess I can go ahead and clean it off of the timing cover on the engine with a razor blade. Get all this old gasket off. And yeah, then I'll probably be able to use the work truck to go pick up that gasket here in a bit. So I guess what I want to do is I want to start tearing the engine apart. So I need to set this on the ground and move this drain pan out of the way so I can start removing all these accessories, alternator, all this stuff has to come off, all the brackets. And I guess I'll probably just pull the full harness off first, set her on the ground, and start tearing it apart. So just y'all stay tuned. I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Alright, you guys, well, I used the power washer and the rest of that super clean, and I dumped the super clean down in these coolant ports that go to the heater core, and then I flushed it out to where all the white foamy crap was coming out of the water pump housing and out of the thermostat housing. And I just went back and forth, and then put the power washer in over here and put it in over there until it was just all clear water coming out. And then I rinsed all the shit out into where it's flooding down there. And then kind of went over the engine again. I did remove the front and rear exhaust manifold and the crossover pipe just to kind of clean up the bottom side of the head a little bit more. And whenever I pull the plug wires off, this one broke, so now I'm going to have to get her some more plug wires whenever I go to pick up the oil filter housing gasket. But yeah, made some decent progress. So now that I've got the engine flushed out, hopefully that'll get rid of all that orange gunky crap that's been building up in the radiator and the heater core. So I'm going to let this kind of just drip dry for a little bit before I disassemble it anymore. But the weather is saying it's supposed to rain all day, and it's already starting to flood his yard, as you can tell. So hopefully it doesn't move in too bad and really start flooding everything. So I'm going to take the time while this is drying, and as you can see, I've got all the exhaust stacked over here, and I've got the harness and all the other parts I pulled off over here. So I want to try to clean off a spot on one of these tables so that I can stack everything on a table. So actually I may just stack them on this table. That way if it does flood, it's at least up on this table. It might be outside of the shop, but it should still stay pretty dry right here. So I'm going to start moving everything out here onto this table just so it's up off the ground, just in case it does flood. Then it's not super horrible And then I'm probably going to throw the car back up on jack stands just to get the transmission as high up as I can, because I don't want, if it does flood, I don't want it to get in the transmission, so, or into the car. And I only brought 2 jack stands, and Hunter, the big tall jack stands I was using before on the GXP belonged to Hunter with the Camaro, so he's done taken all his stuff, so there's no other jack stands except for the big one, the big tall ones that are on Lucas's 240. And so that's all the jack stands there are. He might have a couple short ones like that, so I don't know, I might be able to get 2 out of the other shop and get this thing up on 4 jack stands. But if it starts really flooding the yard and getting up here, I'm probably going to have to move Jesse's truck up there on the hill, just so it doesn't flood, because it doesn't flood up there on the hill. And yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. But yeah, I guess I'm going to go ahead and start picking up all this stuff, get it over here on the table, and then I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys, I got the car up on 4 jack stands, just so they're all maxed out. That's as high as it can go. It's as high as his jack goes. And I've got all the parts picked up. Everything's out here on the table. So here's everything that's come off the engine so far. And then I went ahead and lifted up the engine just so if something does happen, it's way above the water. So hopefully it doesn't come down to that, but I just want to be prepared just in case. Because I know when I was working on the GXP, we came out here and the water was like up to here and all this was covered. And I literally came in here and like got the rear exhaust manifold on, and then it was like, you know, this high in here already. It was like almost a foot off the ground in the shop. In like 30 minutes, it raised quite a bit. So I just don't want to be out here working on this, tearing it apart, and then the rain come, you know, all the water come flowing in. And honestly, it's not raining hard enough. I don't think it's going to flood. It's just like flooding the yard some. But I think if it was going to flood, it would be running. It likes to come from the wooded area and just flow in hard. So I don't think it's raining hard enough anymore like it was earlier to where it's going to flood. But I just want to be prepared just in case. And then that way the car is already up in the air. And if it does start to flood, I can just back Jesse's truck up and drive it up on the hill. And I mean, so be it. Like, but I think everything's going to be okay. So now that I've got the car up on jack stands and all the parts are picked up, now I can concentrate on tearing this engine apart. But I think what I want to do is, since that oil filter housing gasket was ready at 10:30 and it's 11:30, I think I want to see if I can use the truck to go pick up the gasket. And I'm also going to get a set of spark plug wires, since that one broke. Can't believe that happened. These weren't even that old of wires, but they pulled it right out of there. Oh yeah, I put them out here. Yeah, I think I want to go get her gasket and some new plug wires and come back, and then I'll drain the oil and start working on all the other stuff. I'll have to set it back on the ground because I don't know, he might have an engine stand up there in the other shop. So maybe I'll get the engine stand and try to put it on an engine stand. I don't know yet. But yeah, that doesn't even need to unplug. But yeah, there we go. Engine's out, it's all nice and clean, ready for disassembly. So I guess I'm gonna close this up and go holler at Robert and see if I can use the truck to run up to O'Reilly, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys, so I just got back from O'Reilly. So this is the gasket. that I had got this morning. It was $3.79. It wasn't even $4. But there's the gasket. Fell Pro. There's the part number. So, got the gasket. And then the plug wires. These are the Omni Spark. These were $29.99 plus tax. So, it was $32.54. So, got our brand new set of spark plug wires. So now we shouldn't have any misfires or anything when it goes back together. So, there we go. Just wanted to show y'all I got the parts that I needed. So now I can, I guess, lower this closer to the ground. And I'll go ahead and pull the drain plug and just drain the oil. And try to get it all nice and cleaned out. And try to clean out the pan really good. And, yeah, then I can go ahead and, after I drain the oil, I'll set it on the ground. I'll get the alternator and alternator bracket removed and the coil bracket removed. Get the valve covers off. And then we'll get this fuel rail and intake removed. And the heads will be shortly after that. So I will have to use this is a 5.5 mil. I learned that on Steven's car. So I have to remove, well, that one doesn't have to be removed, but this one definitely does because it blocks the head bolt. And then, same on the front. So I have to remove 2 studs with the 5.5 mil socket, and then the heads can come off. So I guess, yeah, I'm going to lower this down some, grab the drain pan, drain the oil, and I'll give you another update. Alright, you guys. Well, I went over to the other shop where the 240's at, and I guess since we pulled his engine off the stand, so the stand was free. So I had to go through the bolt bin to find bolts that would thread in and work. But I've got all 4 are on there. It's holding the engine up. So now the oil is drained. So now I can go ahead and start tearing this thing apart. So I'm just going to start going along, and I'll remove this coil bracket. And then probably the alternator and alternator bracket. Then the upper intake and the fuel rail. Then I can get this bracket off. And then I can remove the EGR bracket. And then I should be down to the lower intake and the heads, and that's pretty much all that's coming off. So I guess I'm going to get to work, start tearing this thing apart, and I'll keep you guys updated as I go. Alright, made a little more progress. I got the alternator and alternator bracket removed, got the coil bracket with the sub harness removed. Then I came back here and I got the EGR with the EGR tube removed. These were 13s. These are just 215 nuts, and then this was 315 mil bolts. And then when you pull the alternator bracket, the coolant elbows come off with it. So yeah, all this is going to need cleaned up. But man, it's coming along. That's a lot more torn apart with just 3 things removed. So I guess next I'll go to remove this heat shield for the EGR, and then the fuel rail, and then the upper intake manifold. And yeah, hopefully it doesn't look too bad in there. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, fuel rails removed. It was 4 10 mil nuts. Yeah, one there, one there, one there, one there. Then there's a little bracket here. That's a 10 mil and nut. And then once you pull the bracket off, there's a 10 mil bolt. And then same back here for the EGR heat shield bracket. It's got a 10 mil nut. You pull it off and 10 mil bolt. And then all the rest of these are 8 mil bolts. So now I've got my 8 mil. I'm going to go ahead and zip all these off. I think that's it. Now I should be able, yep, there we go. She's removed. Cool. So now I can take this, go set it on the table, and then we can get this lower intake manifold removed. Alright, so now the lower intake is removed, or the upper intake is removed, sorry. So now, before, say all of these are going to be 3/8 in the lower intake manifold, but with this bracket on here, it makes it a pain in the ass to get it out. So these are 13s. If you remove these, and that's going to make it a hell of a lot easier to get that lower intake manifold out. Alright, so now we're going to swap the 13. And I've got a 3/8. Around here somewhere. It's on an extension. There it is. Alright. Here's my 3/8. So now, pop that on there. Now we can go around and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's one hiding inside. See? 6. And same over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one hiding inside. 6. So now the lower intake manifold should come off. There we go. So I'm gonna pull all these bolts out. Try to throw these in a bag or something so I don't lose them. And the 2 inside ones I'll have to grab with a magnet. Let's see. Alright. This is going to get power washed again. It's still pretty dirty. So I'm going to set this one out here because it needs to be cleaned. Sucks, I just did these gaskets not too long ago, just a couple months ago. You can tell these gaskets are, shit, still look great. And there's where it's pitted on the lower intake. Ooh. That's no bueno. Alright. Well, there's that. I'm going to let that drain. That's going to get power washed. There's all the bolts. Hopefully they don't get lost. And I guess if it starts raining, it can just wash it. So, now that is removed. So now, it's down to the heads. So now valve covers need to come off. Those need to get power washed. Then the rockers and push rods. And then I can unbolt and remove the heads. So, just about there. We are just about there. So I guess I'm going to go ahead and get the valve covers removed. And I'll give y'all another update. Show y'all inside the heads. Alright, so valve covers are also a 3/8. Do the front one too. Oh, that's pretty dirty. That's really dirty. Alright, I'm gonna go. Here, let's actually put the impact down. I'm gonna pull this rear one. Alright, rear isn't any cleaner inside. It must have been leaking when I power washed. Or maybe it's some from the lower intake. See, that's all that gunky shit I'm talking about. That's like the crap that keeps getting on the inside of the radiator. All that Dexcool crap. Yeah. So these definitely need cleaned. Wouldn't be surprised if they need valve seals. Say, the kit did come with new valve seals, so I will be doing valve seals on these as well. It's kind of hard to tell. It doesn't look like any of them's lifted though. So that's really good. Yeah, we're definitely going to do valve seals. And I'm going to try to clean up all these springs and retainers and the rockers. Maybe I'll have to get some more of that super clean from Robert. Maybe I can just soak all these and try to get all this old oil crap off. There we go, one step closer. So now I just got to remove these two studs. And actually on this, I can actually leave the rockers bolted on and I can just get to the head bolts. I just got to remove this one stud and then same on the front head, very left stud. So, alright, that's what's next. I'm going to go ahead and start getting these heads removed and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys, so I'm about to remove the heads. I've got the big impact. They're 14 millimeter. So, whenever you torque the head, you start in the middle and you do a crisscross and then you do the outside bolts crisscross. So, when removing, you just do it in reverse. So, there's one, two, oh, drain pan, drain pan. All right. Keep going. I thought I got most of the water out of the engine. I guess not. Alright, I'm going to let that drain for a minute. Pull these old bolts out. They're trash anyways. Not reusable. There's my magnet. Nope. Right there. Oh, that one hit the ground. Oh, alright, I'll wait a minute to pull those until that side's done dripping. I guess I can there we go. Alright. I guess I'll let this finish dripping for a minute and then I'll give you guys another update. Okay, so look, so here's the heads. I haven't got to clean them up yet, but here's the gaskets. Every one of them is clogged up with that gunky shit that's in the engine. Here's the other head. This is the back head. Exact same thing. All clogged up. The actual ports on the head don't look horrible. I mean, they definitely have the orange crap in them. But I mean, as far as I can tell, I don't see any cracks visually. They normally crack like right here, and I don't see any. But until they're all really clean, I mean, that one has a potential maybe. Hard to tell. I mean, it wasn't misfiring or anything, so it shouldn't. But yeah, see, that's where all that gunky shit is in the coolant passages. And yeah, they're both all gunky on the inside. So I'm gonna power wash these, but I gotta remove the spark plugs first. But the heads are off, the lower intake gasket's off. See, these are the gaskets I just put on like 4 or 5 months ago, and they still look really good, other than the RTV I had to add because your lower intake is pitted really bad on both sides. So I filled it in with RTV. But I mean, those gaskets still look great, but I'm not going to reuse it. You got brand new ones, exact same thing, so we're going to use the new ones. But yeah, I'm going to get all this stuff all cleaned up and should be going back together tomorrow. So, alright, just power washed and cleaned out the top side in the valley. Cleaned up the front of the engine and the oil pan as best I could. Roll it over this way. Then here's where I got that gasket. That gasket has to go on right here. It's the oil filter housing. So I gotta clean that old gasket off. And then here's the heads. I still got to get the old gasket material off of the wire wheel, but I got a lot of that gunky shit out of the coolant ports. There's still a little in there. I can't make them perfect. Yeah, look, there's some of that crap coming out. But got both of the heads all power washed and cleaned up. So much better. Yeah, and I don't see any cracks in any of them. They all look good, so now they're all nice and cleaned up. Flip this one over. Look at all that crap that just came out. But they cleaned up really well, so at least now they're not all gunky and smelling like old ass oil. See, I gotta wipe out and lube the cylinders, and I'm gonna clean off the piston tops. So, but yeah, I still gotta clean all the gasket material off of the wire wheel. But it looks a hell of a lot better than it did, so. Alright, you guys, so I had to turn off the air compressor for a minute. That thing was just getting on. It was giving me a headache. But, alright, so I still need to finish blowing these out with the air to get as much of the water out, because I don't want them to flash rust. But, I mean, they cleaned up really nice. So, they're 100 times better than what they were before, especially in these coolant passages. There was just like, I could just scoop it out and just get the fingerfuls of crap. And that's on both heads. So this one still looks pretty bad, like y'all seen in that last couple clips. But I mean, there's not a whole lot of anything coming out, so I'm going to call that good on the heads. I still need to, I'm going to use the wire wheel on my impact to wire wheel all these gasket mating surfaces. But on the engine, I normally do wire wheel them. But so I tilted the engine at its side and pulled the plug. And I dumped a bunch of fresh oil in here all over the lifters and let it drip down. And then I just let it flush all the water and crap out, because when I power washed out the valley, water goes down in there. So I let it flush it all out until it was just oil coming out. I put like 3.5 or 4 quarts of that Rotella in there just to flush it out. And so then once it was just oil coming out, I put the plug in, tightened it down, and I dumped the rest in there just all over everything just to keep it kind of lubed. And so now I can actually, whenever I spin this over to push all the water and crap out of the cylinders, you know, I can, as they go to the bottom of the compression stroke, I can wipe out the cylinder on both sides, spin it some until, you know, the next one comes up. I can wipe off the piston tops, clean out the cylinders, and it'll also start pumping some oil. It's probably going to come out of this filter housing, so I'm probably going to have to clean this off first, and then put the little spring and cap back in there, and then actually bolt the filter housing back on. And then I'll just go ahead and put the oil filter on. And I'm not gonna, whenever I put this back in, I'm not gonna reinstall the bitch bolt because it's a pain in the ass. And I'm not gonna reinstall the bracket over here because it doesn't really need it, especially with the way my mom drives. So, but yeah, I just gotta clean up this little bit of RTV, and I'm gonna use a razor blade to clean the head mating surfaces on the engine, and then I'm going to use a wire wheel on the heads. But yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and get all this cleaned up, and then I'll give you guys another update. Alright you guys, so I just used the wire wheel on the impact. I got the bottom all nice and clean. You can still see some of the outline of like the old gasket material, but I didn't want to go into it too hard. See, it started scratching it. So I was just trying to go light, but you know, hard enough to get the old gasket material off. And then like right here, it's like you could feel it. There's still gasket material there. It just wasn't wanting to come off, and I didn't want to just run that wire wheel on it and fuck up the head. So everything's getting copper sprayed, so I think that should still seal. And then I got the back side back here wire wheeled as well. So now I just got to do the valve cover mating surface and then the exhaust mating surface. And then this head will be done. And then come over here, I got the lower intake all nice and wire wheeled and cleaned up. And then I blew it out with air, and it's just over here drying off. And so it looks like a continuance of this table just over here. So once I get this valve cover mating surface area cleaned up and the exhaust mating surface area cleaned up, then this head will go over there, and then I'll start working on the front head. So it's really coming together, but I'm going to keep working on this head, and then I'll get the front head done, and then I'll give you guys another update. Damn guys, it really picked up on the rain. Flooding more now than it was earlier. It's starting to flood out here, way out there in the yard. I guess we'll see how it goes. But got everything over here. Heads look good. I'm gonna have to dry them off again. Not really much I can do. The table's leaking. But got everything sitting over here. So the only thing that's left is the push rods. And I'm just wiping them down, keeping them in order. These are the rear, this is the front. So I'm gonna finish cleaning those up, and then I'll go in here and work on the engine and getting the head mating surface cleaned on the engine block. So I guess give me a little bit and I'll give you guys another update. Alright you guys, so it's about 9:30. It's big storms coming in, so Lucas got home and he moved Jesse's truck out, and so car's up on jack stands, all the tools are picked up, everything's sitting up off the floor just in case it does flood in here. And so I'm glad the engine's on the stand, so it's at least raised up. We got the heads sitting inside over here. I sprayed them down with WD-40, and everything else is still sitting on the table outside, but it's not getting wet. Just the heads and the lower intake were getting wet, so we brought those in. But car looks great. The heads are all cleaned up. Lucas brought me this, I don't know what he did with it, but he brought in this stone. Oh, here it is. Yeah. So he said he put sandpaper on this and then go over it. So I have to pull these dowel pins, and then we'll go over it with some sandpaper, and it'll keep it smooth and flat, and it will get rid of all the old gasket material imprint. And so he said we're going to do the block and the heads. So but yeah, I guess that's going to be it for tonight. So I guess y'all have a good night, and I'll catch you guys back out here tomorrow. Alright you guys, so it is 3:17 in the afternoon. So Lucas and I came out here at like 11, and I guess whenever I plugged my phone in last night, it wasn't plugged into the wall all the way or something. So when I woke up this morning, my phone was dead. But so Lucas has helped me. We got the head mating surfaces on the block cleaned up. He went ahead and went over the mating surfaces on the heads and got everything all nice and clean. We hung the head gaskets from the cherry picker so I could copper spray them. And so head gaskets are nice and copper sprayed. He even looked up to see which gasket was supposed to go where. The arrows point to the crank pulley, and then the one with the L goes on the driver's side, or the front head. So, or I guess it'd be the one closest to the radiator support. And then this one just has a dot and not an R, but the arrow points to the front. So got the heads on, got the new head bolts on and torque down. We did 37 foot-pounds and then 130 degrees with the degree wheel. And so I tried to go over it with the torque wrench at 80 foot-pounds, and it just clicks. So I'm going to say it's probably pretty close to being what it is, and that's what Lucas found online. Normally when I do it, I do 30, 60, 90, but I don't have a degree wheel and he does, and that's what he found online for the torque spec. So he helped me get the heads on, and then he helped me get the lower intake manifold on with the new gaskets, RTV'd across the bridge on both sides and in the corners. And then after that, he went up to go work on his car because he got a bunch of new parts for the 240. So I went ahead and got the upper intake manifold on with the new gasket. And before I put that on, I got the rockers and push rods in, got those torqued down, spun the engine over, and then went ahead and did the valve covers, got the new gaskets and grommets on those, got this mount bolted on because you have to put it on before the upper intake goes on. Then got the upper intake put on. And then we also got the new gasket. There's a rubber seal and then a paper gasket for the thermostat. So got the, I don't know, you can't really see it, but the thermostat is in there. It's a 195 factory thermostat. And it's got the new rubber seal and then the paper gasket. So that's all on there. It's got the EGR back on. And it's really starting to come together. So it's starting to look like an engine. I did try to put the starter on. I tried to hook it up to the jump box, and it's just not enough juice to crank it over. Either that or it's just not a good enough connection. So the starter's gonna have to come back off. But I mean, overall it's really not horrible. Everything looks really good. Everything's cleaned up really nicely. So, fingers crossed everything works like it should. Then I went ahead and got the oil filter housing on with its new gasket, and I lubed up the little spring and cap that goes in there. Got the new oil filter on. Got the new oil pressure sensor on. It's actually a used one, but it's dry, and the plastic doesn't spin. So hopefully that one's good. But I mean, other than that, everything else is looking really good. Just wiping down these spark plugs, clean them up a little. These are all Autolite 103s. 103. There you go, everything looks good. So, I guess I'm going to keep working on this. I'm going to go ahead and get the alternator bracket back on with the alternator and the coil pack bracket. Start rerunning the harness and everything. Get the fuel rail and injectors back on. I still need to swap the O-rings on those. I got new O-rings here and a new throttle body gasket. So I got to get the throttle body back on. But it's coming together. It's looking like an engine again. So I guess I'm going to keep working on this, and I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Alright, you guys, so the engine is all together. Got the harness ran. Everything's plugged in, except for like the AC compressor and the starter, because they're not on yet. And then like downstream O2 and speed sensor, because they're still in the car. But everything else on the engine is all plugged in. Everything looks like it's good, ready to go. So I'm going to call it a night for tonight on the engine. And first thing tomorrow, whenever I get out here, I'll be able to push the car back, and we'll get it set down in here, back in place, and go from there. So guess y'all have a good night, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow, and we'll get this engine put in here. Hey there, YouTube. So it's the next day. It's Monday, and I way the fuck overslept. I didn't get up until 12:40 in the afternoon, and now it's 1:30 because it's a 45-minute drive out here. But engine is ready to go in, so I've got to get the cherry picker around here without hitting Jesse's truck. I should have plenty of room to get it through here. And then I've got to get the engine and cherry picker wheeled up through here somehow to get it back in front of the car. I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. But, yeah, I got to get this engine back in the car today. So I guess y'all stay tuned. I'll give you guys another update here shortly. You guys, Jesse helped me. We got the engine set back down in the engine bay. I did kind of smush up the new oil filter, so I have to buy a new oil filter. But yeah, it kind of just ran down the frame rail here and smushed it in on the side. But it's sitting where it needs to go, so now I can get the power steering bolted back on, get the AC compressor bolted back up, and just start hooking everything back up, getting everything put back together, plugged back in. And should be all back together in no time. Give it 3 or 4 hours. She should be having first startup. So I'm going to get to work getting everything hooked up and put back in and plugged in, and I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Alright, you guys, just finished getting all the torque converter bolts installed. So now I gotta go grab the starter. It's 215s, and I'll get the starter bolted back up here in place, and I can hook up all these power wires that go to the starter. So I got this main power, this power, and then this is a starter solenoid. So these go on the power spots on the starter, and then I'll bolt it up in here, and I've got a ground over here. The one I fixed will go on the bell housing stud. So I'm going to get the starter in here, and I'll give you another update. Alright, you guys, so the starter's in, AC compressor is bolted on, got the radiator hoses are on, all the wiring is hooked up to the starter, got grounds on. I need to tighten up that ground right there, but all the other grounds are on. I'm going to have to bend this back a little bit to give me a little bit more clearance, because it does kind of sit close to the AC compressor. So I need to get a little more clearance on that. But with a little more, it'll pull it. It'll clear. And then I got to get the power steering pump bolted on. Then I can get the belt on. And I need to get a new oil filter because I smashed that one. But it's getting really close. So we're about to take a break and go eat some dinner. And then I'll be back out here and continue, and I'll give y'all another update. Alright, you guys, she's going together. I didn't trim the fans, but you can see how far away they stick away from the radiator and the tab. It's like not even close, but I was able to get the mounts on at the top to just kind of hold it up there, and I was able to get the fans plugged in. So it's wired, the radiator's in, the AC condenser's in, so I've got my grounds tightened up. ECU is back in with the air box, and then now I can get the air filter and mass airflow sensor on, and the little evap port that goes to the intake boot, plug in the mass airflow, and then the top end is pretty much done, other than over here. I just got the car on the ground, so now I can actually reach to get the power steering pump bolted on. Got the bolts right there, so I'm gonna have to get that started, and I'll have to get another oil filter because that one got smashed. And then once I get the power steering pump on, then I should be able to get the belt on, and yeah, everything will be one step closer. And then I still have to tighten down the nuts on the exhaust downpipe down there, but other than that, everything else is all hooked up. I've got to tighten down these hose clamps on the heater hoses. It's not a big deal. And then I found the battery bolt. I got to clean that up because it's really nasty. And then I can hook up the positive once I have everything all back together. But it's coming along. But it's going on 7:30, and I'm probably going to call it. I'm out here sweating my ass off, so I'm probably going to just put the intake on and just button up a couple little things, and then I'll give you guys another update. But after that, I'm probably going to call it and go home for the night. So give me a few, and I'll give you another update. Alright, you guys, so I've pretty much got everything buttoned up. I've got the air box in, air filter, mass airflow, all that's hooked up. Got the crossbars up, the battery's hooked up, ECU is in, all the radiator hoses are tight. I dumped a whole fresh gallon of antifreeze in the radiator. I overspilled a little bit, so I have a little drip there, but just want to make sure it's holding coolant. But overall, everything looks good, except for just where I overflowed it some. And this is just a temporary on the fans, but it's working for now. So I'm probably going to find like the 2000 like Bonneville style fans. They're a little slimmer. They're the same. I had like an identical radiator to this in the 07 Prix, and whenever I got it, it came with some thinner fans, and they had the exact same plugs. They fit, they slotted into the radiator, and that was the ZZP radiator. So I don't know, I'm gonna maybe just look for some different fans for it, but for now that should work. It should at least let her drive around, let me get it home. But all that's left is the power steering pump, and then get the belt on, and then I got to tighten down the two nuts on the exhaust, and then I got to fix the CV axle boot because the clamp came off, so I still got to fix that clamp. But now the power steering pump is sitting right in the way, so I need to get it on first. But I mean, overall it's basically all back together, so now it's just going to be topping off fluids. I got to get some more antifreeze for it. But I mean, technically it should start. So, but I'm gonna wait for it. But yeah, I'm gonna call it for the night and go home, and I'll be back tomorrow to finish getting the power steering pump on and get the belt on and get the exhaust tightened up, and I'll have to stop and get some more coolant, and I'll get it topped off with antifreeze, and we'll do a first startup tomorrow. So y'all have a good night, and I'll catch you guys back out here tomorrow. Alright, you guys, so it's the next day. I made it back out here. I just pushed the car out so I could try to get to this to clean up my mess. You can see how much transmission fluids leaked out of the pan. So I went by AutoZone this morning. I got a filter and pan gasket. It was 50 bucks, but we needed it. I got some more cat litter so I can clean up this mess. I got another jug of antifreeze. I got more transmission fluid. I got a new oil filter since I accidentally smashed the new one. I put on the oil filter housing. And I got some more blue rags because I ran out of blue rags. But yeah, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and open up one of these bags, get it dumped out here, try to clean up my mess as best I can. And then I'm going to jack the car up out here, and I got to pull that passenger front wheel back off, and I've got to try to fix that axle boot clamp. Yeah, you can kind of see the clamp has came off. You can see the silver is the clamp, and the boot's like hanging off some. So I need to fix that. See the axle boot and the clamp. I got to get the power steering pump bolted on. I've got to tuck this plastic splash guard back up in there once the wheel's off. And then I need to try to zip tie the battery cables down out of the way, or like zip tie them up here so that they're not touching the AC compressor. It's really close, but it's not touching right now. I just don't want them to rub while the engine's running. So I need to try to get those as far out of the way as possible. But yeah, other than that, it's just going to be getting this power steering pump bolted on with those two bolts. And then getting the belt on, topping it off with coolant. And then I got to jack it up so I can drop the pan, completely drain all the fluid out. I'm going to clean everything up, brake clean it out. I got can of brake clean. And then I may have to, it kind of looks like the pan was over tightened at one point in time. And so whenever you tighten down those bolts, over torque them, instead of the pan where the holes are being flat, it tends to want to bend up like this, and that causes a leak. So when I get the pan off and clean it up, I'm going to inspect it. And if it needs to, I learned this trick from my dad years ago. So like where the lip is, you can take your board and set the pan on it where the holes are, and you can tap it down with a hammer and it will flatten them back out without bending the pan. So if it needs it, then I will attempt to repair the pan by tapping those back flat. But if it looks good and it's flat, I mean, it could just be that this gasket is no good. I don't remember ever doing a filter and pan gasket on her car. I may have. Like I said, it's been 3 years since I bought the car, so I've worked on so many 3800 cars, it's hard to keep track. But regardless, it's getting a new filter and pan gasket today with all fresh new fluid. So that's what's going to have to happen, because if not, it's just going to keep leaking like this at the house in the driveway, and she's just going to keep losing transmission fluid. So hopefully this fixes it, but I'm going to go ahead and clean up my mesh real quick and then jack the car up and get her back on jack stands, and I'll give you all another update. Look guys, so just in the time I pushed the car out here, it's already dripped that much. Something is going, it's dripping right from the pan. I just don't get it. I mean, I literally pushed the car out here, recorded that video, and then dumped some kitty litter down on that mess, and then came over here to jack it up, and it's already leaked that much. So yeah, we definitely have an issue. So I am going to jack this up, get it in the air on some jack stands to get the wheel off, and I'll give you all another update. Alright you guys, so I was able to swap out the oil filter. I got the power steering pump bolted on, and then got the belt on, And then I changed the oil filter. But now I just need the 2 little plastic tabs that hold this splash guard in place. And then I still need to fix this clamp for the CV axle, but I don't know. I don't have the right tools for that. So I'm going to try to just put some zip ties around it. I have no clue if that's going to work or not. But that's kind of my only option right now. So, but I mean, other than that, the belt is on, everything else is hooked up, all the clamps are tight for the cooling system. I've got two full gallons of coolant in it now. So she's up to the top, so it's just gonna need a little more top off. So I'll have to use a little bit of water because I only got one other gallon of coolant. But now I can get the overflow tank in and get the little hose hooked up to the overflow tank. And then that's pretty much going to be everything wrapped up. And then the car should start. And it should drive, but I've also got to... Like now I get to move on to the bottom side of unbolting this pan on the transmission. And now I've got to drain the transmission, drop the pan, possibly fix the pan if it's bent or if those bolts have been over tightened before. And then this is the filter and pan gasket. And so this was the more expensive kit. They have a cheaper kit that's the same exact filter and seal, but it has a rubber gasket, and I hate the rubber gaskets. They always leak. This is the factory style. It is a metal gasket with the rubber coating to seal, and these are what always, this is a factory style gasket, so this is what I like to use. So that's what I got. It was $50 for that, just to have the better style gasket, but that's what I like. So if I would have had the money, I would have got her a brand new pan with a drain plug on it, because they're like 30 bucks on eBay. But I wasn't thinking of that. I was trying to do this for as cheap as possible. But engine is done, so I mean, technically it should start and run. And also on the front end right there, I've got it to where there's a good bit of clearance between the ground and that AC compressor pulley, so I don't think we're gonna have any issues there. But man, overall I'm really happy with it. So I guess I can go ahead and try to start it up real quick. I don't like the fact that it's on the jack stands, but I haven't heard her run yet, so let's see. We'll prime it 2 or 3 times. All right. Oh. Okay. Shit, she fired right up. Hell yeah. Awesome. Yeah, I almost forgot I still got to tighten down the exhaust the rear downpipe to the rear manifold. But man, that was awesome. Yeah, it fired right up. Like it wasn't even torn apart. That's awesome. Okay, well, sweet. I guess I can go ahead and get this other wheel bolted back on. Well, first I'm gonna zip tie that boot, then I'll put the wheel back on. Got to get a couple of clips in this splash guard, then get the wheel on, and then I'll go under here and start draining this transmission pan. So I guess y'all give me a few and I'll give you another update. Alright, she's leaking. Draining this fluid out the pan. And it still looks kind of red. But I'm just going to let this drip, and I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Alright you guys, it's 2 o'clock. I've been out here for a couple hours. So now I've got everything on the engine done. The pan is just about done draining. I've only got 3 or 4 bolts left in it, kind of holding it in. So I've got like 2 in this back corner. I need to loosen both of those and loosen this one. And the ones on that end are loose. So once I loosen these, it should let the pan drop down a little more. And it should drain out a majority of the fluid that's in the pan. And then I'll be able to drop the pan down once it's pretty drained and then clean it out. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this pan off of here real quick, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright you guys, so I've got the pan dropped, sitting right here. Doesn't look too horrible. I haven't really got to look at the magnet yet. I'm still just letting it drip and catch fluid from the filter. But I mean, overall it doesn't look horrible. I'll just have to let this finish dripping, and then I'll brake clean out the pan and see what it looks like, and then I'll drop this filter out of here so I can get the new one in there, and we'll go from there. So y'all give me a few, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright you guys, so I just got done cleaning out the pan. Like I said, there's a bit of metal shavings on the magnet, but I mean that's expected with having 200, almost 200,000 miles. So I mean, I just cleaned it up as best I could. Cleaned up the bottom side of the pan. So now I can pop open the new filter and gasket. I can get the new gasket set on here, and then I can go ahead and pop the new filter in. Yeah, there it is. So yeah, I've got to get all this opened up, get the new filter installed, then the pan and the new gasket can go back on. And then I'll look up the torque spec for the pan bolts, and I want to say it's like 25 inch-pounds or something, so I have to use the little torque wrench. But yeah, I'll get the pan torque down to the correct torque with the new gasket, and then fill it up with fluid. I got two gallons of brand new fluid right there. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this opened up and get this stuff installed, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright you guys, so I got the pan reinstalled with the new gasket. New filter is in. And I couldn't find a torque spec, so I just snugged them all with a ratchet and a socket. They're all 10 mils. So I just kind of crisscrossed to get them started and get the pan up there seated, and then I just did one at a time. Got them all just ran down to the pan, and then went around it and just snugged them all down one at a time. And then I went around it again to make sure that all of them were nice and snug. So hopefully we don't have any leaks. Gasket looks good in there. So hopefully this fixes her trans leak. And then I was also able to move that one, and like I said, they are like, fittings are touching, but I got it on there and it's tightened down, so at least now I don't have to worry about the line being down underneath the subframe. It's up here over the subframe. So I'm happy with that. It looks a little better. So I guess I'm pretty much done underneath, other than I've got to tighten up the 2 exhaust downpipe bolts, which are both the 13. So I'm going to get this drain pan out from under the car. I got to grab some of that kitty litter from over there and come clean up this mess right here. And then after that, I went ahead and on the axle boot, I just put 3 zip ties on it, zip tied them together and made a really long zip tie. And so I've got the axle boot zip tied on. I don't know if that's going to hold up or not. But yeah, after I do the exhaust bolts, then I should be able to bolt the wheel on, get the car on the ground off of jack stands. And then it's just going to be filling up the transmission with transmission fluid and then topping off the coolant with some water as I bleed the cooling system. So, yeah, I guess I'm going to go ahead and get this exhaust done, and I'll give you guys another update. Alright, you guys, so I just got both gallons of transmission fluid dumped into the trans. After the first one, I even looked just to make sure I don't see anything leaking. So that is awesome. So, I guess once this is done dripping and I pull the funnel, I'll start it up, check the level, and kind of go from there. So, I'm really surprised it started earlier. I'm really happy that I just fired right up. So, I guess I'm going to let this finish doing this, and then I'll give you guys another update here in a few. Alright, you guys, so I just got everything buttoned up back here. I pulled the dipstick. It's way above, so I'm going to start her up so it'll start circulating. Here we go. Awesome. Gasket's leaking on the rear. Great. The engine sounds really good, other than the exhaust leak. I'm not too thrilled about the exhaust leak at all. Oh yeah, it sucked it down. I need to grab some more coolant. Alright you guys, well I found this. There's a little bit, it's orange, but it says for all makes and models add to any color. So I topped some of that off. So it looks a little orange in there. And then I got 2 different bottles of water. So I'm just trying to keep it topped off. Bleeder's open. So I'm just going to let it bleed and keep topping it off over here. And I'll keep checking back and forth with the heater, see if we got heat. Oh, it's starting to get a little warm. Definitely bubbling some out of the thermostat housing. I'm not seeing any drips from the transmission. Alright, so while that's also bleeding, reverse, drive, it's all the way down at first. That's kind of how I do it. I just all the way up, reverse, back down to drive, neutral, park, all the way back down to first. It just kind of circulates the fluid through the trans, through all the lines. Some air bubbles coming out now. Engine sounds good. It's running nice. It's really smooth. It's much smoother than it was before. Before it used to rock around a lot. It definitely kind of felt like it was misfiring before at times, so definite possibility of the blown head gasket from before. Everything looks much better this time. I'm not seeing all the extra bubbles and just coming out. We're just over a quarter of the way. We got some heat coming out. No check engine lights or any dash lights. Oh yeah, running really good. Alright, I'm gonna let this keep bleeding and keep topping it off. And I'll check the trans fluid level and I'll give you guys another update here in a few. Alright, well, she got done bleeding. Radiator looks good. I didn't see any extra bubbling. Super responsive. It definitely still has that exhaust leak. So it's super quiet back here. Fans haven't kicked on yet. Guess I can see if there's any Freon in the system. Here, what if I turn it to defrost? Oh, there they go. Fans are on. looking great. So, alright, I guess I'm gonna turn her off for a minute. I'm gonna get all my stuff picked up and off the top of the car, and I'm gonna go drive it around, see how it does. Alright, you guys, so trunk's open. Oh, wow. It feels so weird hitting the brakes on this thing. It's she did really good. I don't really like the steering, and when you brake, the wheel wants to turn. I don't see any fluids leaking. Awesome. Pan looks nice and dry and clean still. Awesome. That's so awesome. Well, I guess y'all stay tuned. I'll give you guys another update here in a few. Alright, you guys, I was just checking the Prix on, and it's full. It's right between the green and the yellow. I let a little bit out, and bam, it started blowing some cold AC. So I guess I had it a little too overcharged, a little bit overcharged. But it's blowing some nice cold AC. Man, and it's not even up to the halfway yet. 140 trans temp. Condensation from the AC running, dripping. Man. So now all I gotta do is fix the damn exhaust leak. Other than that, sounds like she's running good. I don't see any leaks from the radiator or any of the hoses. There's no check engine light. I'm really happy with that. So I'm gonna go ahead and kill it. Let her cool off for a little bit. Oh man, that AC feels great. It's gonna be so nice to drive home with air conditioning. Bam! Our car is done, other than the exhaust leak. So very happy with that. Car turned out really good. It's much cleaner in the engine bay now. It looks like a completely different car. The engine's cleaner. Everything's cleaner. There's not all that orange dirt crap all over everything. Man, this is awesome. I'm really glad doing the head gaskets fixed it. No overheating. It's not even up to halfway yet. So it just goes to show how much better this radiator is at cooling. So real happy with it. I mean, all in all, for the money, it was well worth it. So I guess I'm gonna start getting all my stuff picked up and get all my tools loaded up into the trunk and the back seat, and I'll give you guys another update here shortly. All right, you guys, I just left Lucas's, cruising 60, not even up to temp yet. Got the AC blowing. It's blowing nice and cold. So I'm just cruising along, but I'll give you guys another update here shortly. Okay, you guys, I was cruising along. I'm like not even halfway home yet, and the AC was freezing me out, so I had to turn it off. But car's doing really good. We're sitting at 140 trans temp. Just under halfway on the coolant temp gauge. They're running 65. Car's doing great. So I'll give you guys another update whenever I make it home. Alright, you guys, I just exited off the highway. Almost home. Went ahead and turned the AC off and rolled the windows down. Wasn't bad though. For a 45-minute drive, I used about an 1/8 of tank of gas. Temp still right in the middle. 152 trans temp. Car did really good. happy with the car. It drove really nice the whole way home. The AC started freezing me out, so I had to turn the AC off. Man, it did really good. I'm really happy with it. So, there's definitely something going on with her steering or the alignment. Something is going on. But, yeah, I'm almost to the house, so I'm going to swing by David's and say what's up. And I'll give it, oh, never mind. I guess he's not home. No worries. Alrighty, well, I guess I'm headed to the house, so I'll give you guys another update here in a minute. Alright, you guys, I made it to the house. Everything looks good. Everything's nice and dry. Don't see any leaks from anything. I looked under the car, and the only thing I see dripping is where I was running the AC. So, it's good. No more transmission leak, no more coolant leaks. Car ran beautifully the whole way home. So, I'm excited. I do want to try to, I think I'm going to swap these fans out for the GXP ones, since I took those out of the GXP. And they're just a lot thinner. And, yeah, they're really close to the exhaust right there. But it works. It drove home, did really well, so very happy with it. And that trans cooler sits right in the front bumper. Gets a good amount of air. And the trans was doing really good also. Like, it was like 153 trans temp. That's not bad at all for a 95-degree day. So, very happy with it. But, yeah, I guess that's going to be it for this video. I do have to still jack it up, and I got to pull that graphite downpipe gasket off, and I'll put the stock metal gasket back on there. And hopefully that will get rid of the exhaust leak. But other than that, the car runs beautifully. It stays cool. The AC works. So, I'm happy with it. Hopefully this car will last my mom at least another 4 or 5 years. So, at least the engine will outlast. The next problem we'll have is probably the transmission. But it seemed to shift really well. So, I guess we'll see. Maybe it'll last another 30 or 40,000 miles. Who knows? Hey YouTube, so it's been about a week and a half or so, somewhere in there. And so I just wanted to do a little update on my mom's car. So she's been driving it around. She's had no issues with it. She said it runs good, it drives great, it shifts good. She hasn't seen the transmission temp go over 160 yet. So the trans cooler is definitely doing its job. So really happy that I added in that trans cooler. So this is the first time I've pulled the radiator cap. Oh no! No! Well, it definitely went down a little bit. No! Oh, that's the brand new radiator. I thought I cleaned everything so good. That sucks. Alright, well, I'm going to have to top off her radiator just a little bit. Oh, man. Oil looks great. That's good. Well, that sucks. I wasn't expecting that. Man, I cleaned out the heater core. I cleaned out the engine. It was a brand new radiator. Like, God. I don't know. That fucking sucks. There must have just been a lot of shit in the block or something. Fuck, man. That sucks. Oh well. At least it's running better. But anyway, so yeah, that kind of sucks. But yesterday, I actually pulled it into the street, and I jacked up the front end, and I turned the wheels both ways. Because for one, I wanted to check on that axle boot, which it's still holding up with the zip ties. And I also wanted to check that oil pressure sensor. Oh, here, hold on. And as you can see, it is dry. So that is a good oil pressure sensor. That one's not leaking. You can see the diff housing is all dry. Everything over there is dry. So I'm pretty sure her old one was leaking oil. It looks like she does have something dripping. So maybe power steering. Or maybe it's the diff housing. Oh yeah, look. Right below the diff housing. It looks wet. So maybe the diff housing is leaking. Oh man, I wonder if that's what was leaking the whole time and not the pan. Well, oh well, I guess. Alright, yeah, I'll have to address that sometime. But anyways, I had missed all this side of the subframe. That was all still covered in grease. All this back here was all still covered in grease. And then on the front side, see, like you can still see there's some there. But yeah, all that was still covered. I had only got what I could get from straight down. Whenever I power washed, I just power washed it like this. And so yeah, I kind of missed all the stuff that was way back there in the back. So I did both sides, turned the wheel both ways so I could get everything all nice and clean. And I wanted to check on the zip ties and the sensor. And so all that's held up. I also did the same over on this side. So this side is a lot nicer and cleaner now. Yeah, it looks a lot better. So, yeah, that's kind of an update on her car. So it's doing really good. It still has the exhaust leak. I haven't fixed the exhaust leak yet. That really sucks. I was not expecting to see all that. I'm going to try to clean all that out. That fucking blows. But I guess it happens, I guess. That sucks. But other than that, her car is running and driving really good. She did say that the AC blows ice cold when she's driving, but then when she stops, it stops blowing cold. So I think it's still a little overcharged, so I'm probably going to have to let out a little bit more Freon on hers. But other than that, her car's doing good. She hasn't had any complaints about anything. And so for the GXP, I've been driving it for the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 days or so since I got her car done. And so my car was getting hot. I had the fans I added in the front, and then I put my stock fans back in. So I had these two up front pushing, and then these two pulling. The problem is whenever I was moving, I had those fans in the front, and they had that big metal shroud. So the shroud was blocking all the airflow to the radiator. And then these fans were trying to suck it through, but it was only letting it suck through the fan holes. And then with those fans also spinning, it was probably kind of fighting. Like these fans were fighting these fans and weren't working together. And so the car was getting hot. So I pulled the front bumper and this header panel back off. I removed those fans. I just got the trans cooler back in here. And then I had a power steering cooler over here in the corner and it was leaking. So I just removed it and I just did a big loop on the lines. It looks like it's still leaking a little bit right there. So I will have to address that, but it's not leaking as bad as it was when it was connected to the cooler itself. So that's not that bad. And then yesterday, I went over to do some brakes on a Chevy Malibu, like I just had said in that last little GXP update video. But yeah, I tried to listen to the radio, found out that the OnStar fuse Yeah, the OnStar fuse for this mirror was shorting out the radio and causing my random multiple misfire 0300 code. And so I was able to remove that fuse, and now the radio works, and now there's no check engine light. I have no misfire at all. I still have the traction control and the ABS lights, but that's because I'm sure one of the wheel speed sensors is bad. And I think I need to do like some rear control arms and rear trailing arms, because there's definitely kind of some wiggle in the back, and I definitely need to get an alignment. I'm still just driving on my eyeball alignment, but the wheel is straight and it drives straight, so I think the front's pretty good. I think it's just in the rear, so I definitely need to do some rear suspension work on this. But other than that, the GXP is doing great. The AC blows ice cold now. The car, it still goes a little bit over half, but I mean, it's not way up here by the red. So I think I'm going to get a 180 thermostat for the GXP. And then I have the HP tuners still. That belongs to Steven. It's right there. So I'll be able to hook that up and do a 180 thermostat and just tune it in through HP tuners, so it doesn't throw a check engine light for the thermostat performance like it was doing on my mom's car. And yeah, then hopefully that will help the temp stay way below half and I won't have any issues. And so online they were saying with the big cam, you really want a 180 or a 160 thermostat. So I think I'm going to go with the 180 and just call it a day and kind of go from there. But other than that, the radio works, subs work, everything in the car works now, other than the mirror has no power, which doesn't matter because this stuff wasn't working before anyways. So I think that's what was shorting it out, was my mirror never had this little screen for the directions and the outside temp or compass. And yeah, and this one does. So evidently this plug in the back is pinned differently, and it's just was causing some chaos throughout the car. But now that fuse is removed, whenever I open the door, it goes ding ding, and I know everything's got power. Everything still works. There's no misfires now. The car runs so much better, and yeah, I'm happy with it. So that's gonna be the update for the cars. And also, yeah, since I decided to use my fans, then I'm gonna have to go to the salvage yard to find her different fans, because I was kind of thinking about using the GXP fans because they are a little bit slimmer. They only go out to about here, and the huge motor doesn't stick out like it does right there, because that is really close to the exhaust, but it's not touching the exhaust. So for now it is working. It looks like these mounts are holding it up pretty good, even though it's not supported from the bottom in any way, because you can see how far away that is from the actual bracket. So yeah, but I mean, it is in there, it's holding it in, the fans work, it's keeping the car cool. So that is good, but yeah, that's kind of a disappointing with the gunky shit still in there. But I guess it is what it is. It's running good. That's the main thing. So if it's going to be dirty in there, as long as it keeps it cool, I don't even care anymore. So, but yeah, I guess that's going to be it for this video. So if you liked the video, leave me a thumbs up, leave me a comment down below, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out on any future videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.